Hey everybody! Today we're going to make scones, but I ran into a little problem. I'm all out of heavy cream, and heavy cream is one of the key ingredients in my scone recipe. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a replacement for the heavy cream out of evaporated milk and butter. I've melted my stick of butter, which is 8 tablespoons, and I have my 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. So now what I'm going to do is blend them together to make my substitute for my heavy cream. Get the evaporated milk in there, get in the butter. So now that we have our heavy cream substitute made, it's time to make our scones. So the first thing we're going to do is use 2 cups of baking mix. Now you can use something like a Bisquick or you can make your own. There are recipes online for how to make your own baking mix, and I may be covering that in another future video. We'll see. I always start with my dry ingredients together first, and then I add my wet ingredients. So my next dry ingredient is going to be 3 tablespoons of sugar. So we're going to mix that in with our baking mix. We give that a quick mix to blend it all together. And everybody has their own way of doing their baking. This is mine. If you do things slightly differently, it's your choice. But once that's blended together, then we're going to add 1 large egg. And our cream replacement, which is 1/3 of a cup normally of heavy cream, and this time I've measured out 1/3 of a cup of our cream replacement. And as it has butter in it, as it sits, if it sits and cools, that butter is going to start to firm up a little bit. So you want to use it as quickly as you can. I did get 2 cups of replacement out of that mix that I made, and I've put the remainder, the other 1 2/3 cups, into the fridge, and I know I'll be using that up this week. Maybe making more scones, who knows. So today we're making just a plain scone. Very often I'll make them with fresh fruit like blueberries or strawberries, or dried fruit like cranberries, maybe with some white chocolate chips, or dried cherries with mini chocolate chips. I've even made them using a peanut butter powder and chocolate chips. So you get peanut butter and chocolate chip scones, which are absolutely awesome. So while I'm mixing this together, I've already preheated the oven to 425 degrees, so that's warming up while we get this mixed up. Sometimes you just got to get your hands dirty. So I've given up the fork, and we're going to finish mixing this in. It's starting to form a bit of a dough, but we've still got a lot of dry ingredients to mix in. So I'm going to finish mixing it by hand. So I kneaded the dough for about 3 minutes, and it's pretty good to go. So the dough, when it's done, it shouldn't be real sticky. You should be able to touch it. It shouldn't stick to your hands. It should form a nice ball. It shouldn't stick to your bowl either. So now our dough is all ready to go onto a lightly floured surface so we can shape it the way we want for our scones. So now I have my lightly floured surface, and I'm going to take my dough and get it rolled out into the shape and thickness that I want. So I usually take and just give it a quick little flip, move my flour around a little bit, and you can press this out by hand or you can use a rolling pin. I like to use a rolling pin. It's a little easier and quicker for me to roll it out, and I can get my shape. So what I'm going for is kind of like making a pizza. So kind of in the shape of pizza dough. And if I'm not happy with the way that it's going, I just turn it and then by hand I can kind of press it out to get the shape that I want and keep the thickness that I want without, and I know the spread of my hand is approximately 8 inches, so I know when I'm about at the right point. You don't have to be exact, that's fine. So we're going to take this and move it over a little bit, get it all pressed out. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. After you do this a few times, you kind of get the feel for it. And that's pretty good. It's pretty simple. So then I take a knife and I just cut it, again, kind of like you're cutting a pizza. So I cut it in half. Cut it in half again, and then each half in half. So now that we have it all cut, we're going to take our scones and we're going to put them on our pan, which is lined with parchment paper. We're going to put it into our oven, which is already preheated to 425 degrees, and then we're going to set the timer for about 12 minutes. So now we're going to put these on the pan, and we're going to leave a little space in between them so that they cook evenly. And I can't wait for them to be done so that we can have some to eat. It's been about 8 minutes. Let's see how things are going. Browning up nicely. Okay, time to take them out of the oven. Oh, they look delicious. So this batch finished in about 10 minutes, so now they're done, beautifully golden brown. You can tell they're done when they start to crack along the edges like this. And the only thing left to do now is to taste one. My favorite part. Absolutely delicious. Excuse me. Oh, perfect with a cup of tea or coffee. You can glaze them if you want. You can break them open and put jam on them, butter on them, whatever your choice. They're awesome. Great breakfast, great dessert, great to take when this pandemic is over and we're allowed to socialize again. Great thing to take with you when you go to visit a friend. So this is it. They're awesome, great. Check out the recipes below. And remember always to like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell below if you want to be notified of our next video. Bye! So now that we have it all cut up, we're ready to put it onto our pan. So what I'm going to use is a parchment lined pan with parchment paper, and parchment lined pan with parchment paper. Favorite part. You can see they're nice and fluffy. And delicious.